You know what? I didn't even look at I forgot to look at the housing numbers. Anyway, the markets are down. The Dow's down 40 points right now. The S&P's down 2. NASDAQ looks like it's about to turn negative, but we'll see. But the Dow is down 40. We had a week last week that was down about just over 2%. I'm sorry, on the week, and not off to a good start, primarily due to Caterpillar. So there's also some negativity coming out on housing numbers. Existing home sales did not beat expectations. So there's some negativity through the markets in reference to that. We're also seeing, this is ridiculous, but European stocks pulling back. European stocks were all positive after U.S. home data. Come on. Europe, if you're pulling back based on the numbers coming out of existing home sales in the United States, you really got a problem. Anyway, but that's, sales declined 0.6%, but it was enough to pull Europe back. Go figure. Anyway, that's what's happening. So the Dow continue to see some negative news. Look, folks, if it was anybody other than Caterpillar, it probably wouldn't be a big deal. I got an email. I know Phil is listening, a friend, a listener out of Virginia, that I guess last week or the week before, I don't remember which, I put an alert out for a buy order on Caterpillar. And the buy order was to put it in at a certain price. If you're a partner with me on the website, you got that alert. And Phil just asked a question based on the numbers that came out from Caterpillar. Would you lower your call on that? Well, I to be honest with you, Phil, yeah, I probably would. I'd probably lower it maybe another, $1.50 or something like that. I bought it this morning at the open. I put a market order in this morning in one of my endowment that I manage and my charitable trust pool. So I put a buy order in it. The buy order went through. I think I put it in for 80, I don't know what it was, 80.38, I think it was, or something like that. And those orders were executed. I saw the email come through my desk this morning. So I'm buying for the long term. I love Caterpillar. I think Caterpillar, I have in those two accounts that I just talked about, very large positions in Caterpillar. So I added to the positions. I wasn't buying it. I wasn't a first-time buyer of it. I just added to it. So my Caterpillar stock is not for sale. In other words, I don't buy it with the idea of selling. It's going to have to take a dramatic move. It is one of the foundational pieces of a portfolio. So I'm looking at it as a foundation. So anyway, that's where it is. I think that in general, there's going to be some good buying opportunities. If you are a partner with me on the website, you see that I reduced my buy list by a fair amount today. There's not as many stocks for sale. We still have some things that are overheated and overpriced. The ones that are on there are good buys or for the long term, as always, and they're ones you ought to consider, including the Timothy plan, the Timothy mutual funds that I have on there. If you just want to buy mutual funds and forget about it, they would be the funds to buy. So I have all those things included in that as well. I've left most of those Timothy funds that I had on the list. I left them on the list. Folks, I want to remind all of you, and then we're going to get back to the calls, and I want to address what Chris said, a caller from Iowa before the break. But if you want to get to one of my seminars and you can't, and you're not going to be able to, because we're not even going to do the seminars again until after January of next year, you can still get the DVD. We have the DVD available of the seminar. You can go to financialissues.org right at the top. Those ads that flash by there, the second one, you can find that. You can order the DVD project. It's 2 DVDs. It's about just over 3.5 hours long. You can take your time and watch it as many times as you want. We have a lot of people that are watching it as a group with neighbors, friends, investment group, or whatever. But check it out. You can buy the DVD, Financial Stewardship 101. It is a kind of a how-to and some great fundamental things that you need to know, understand, and take hold of. And you can buy that DVD only at financialissues.org. So I hope you'll check that out, financialissues.org. You're listening to AFR Talk. I'm Dan Celia. Let's go to the phones. 888-589-8840. 888-589-8840. Let me go to Sue. Sue calling us from Oklahoma. Hey, Sue.
Hey, Dan. How are you? Thank you
Good.
so much for your program. I appreciate all the advice that you give. I have a question. I am 54. My husband walked out after 24 years, and coming next year, about June, I will not be able to afford the mortgage once I lose the child support and a little bit of alimony. But it's a farm, and I do have, probably with what I'm seeing the farm's going for in my area, probably have close to $200,000 equity. Trying to figure out what to do with that money. I'm going to have to put about $75,000 into another home. So I'll have, maybe $125,000. I do a lot of construction work. That's the only thing God has put in my path. And I built the house that we're in now, and I've helped with a couple others. So I'm thinking maybe flipping small houses. There's a big need for it in our small town. I actually live in Chandler, Oklahoma. Or doing rental houses, buying them, and fixing them up and renting them, which I know my neighbor has 16, and he's never empty.
Yeah.
And I wonder what you think. I'm 54, so my husband got all of the retirement.
Okay.
That, he had close to $400,000 in a retirement account, and I didn't get a dime.
Here's what I would say, Sue.
Okay.
Based on your skills, I think you're an ideal person to be able to buy some rental properties. And as long as you feel like you can be okay, I wouldn't go crazy. I would buy a couple and see how you are being a landlord, and kind of get your feet wet. But there's two things I like about it. I don't like doing it as an investment. I like doing it for income, and there will be no greater return as far as income goes for your future than doing that. So I like that idea. That's certainly something you ought to consider. I can't speak to flipping small homes because, for instance, where I live, I wouldn't be able to do it because, it'd just be impossible. The guys that have been flipping homes around here are either bankrupt or no longer doing it. It's very, very difficult because of the market. But your market and the area in which you live better. But I think that if flipping a home is something that's going to be successful for you, a small home, and could generate enough revenue so that you can buy a rental property, that might be a good combination. I would definitely like to see you with that $200,000 take a portion of it, maybe $50,000, give or take, and at least put some of it away, maybe a charitable gift annuity or something that that would be the ideal thing because it's going to be buying you a pension for that amount of money, where when you're 65, along with Social Security, you're going to know you're going to get some income regardless of the rental market, the rental properties, and all that. So it's securing a little piece that is going to continue for the rest of your life. I would do that. And I'm okay with what you want to do with the rest of it, taking 125, or taking the 75,000 to maybe even more, maybe 100,000, and buying a place to live, I think is something that you have to do. That's got to be a priority, obviously. So do that. I think that's wise, and make sure that you peel off some for emergency savings, that you have a decent emergency savings account. But I would look at you're the perfect candidate to have rental properties because you have some skills, know your way around the maintenance that comes along with that and what that takes and who to call and contacts and, to be able to do some of it yourself. I think it's ideal. So as long as you live in an area where the rental market's going to be relatively strong, the downside to the rental market is this. The downside to the rental market is that your risk is still the economy. So if the economy tanks, your rental properties could suffer because nobody has the money to pay rent. So, people need a job, need to be able to get work in order to be able to pay rent. So that's your only risk. Now, you can minimize that risk by doing it slowly, methodically, so that you do it with as little debt as possible, working towards, by the time you're 65, the next 10 years, of getting most of that debt paid off. So now you're in a very strong position so that if you have a tenant that's really a good tenant that you want to try to keep and they lose their job or they have to take go part-time or something like that, at least you will have the ability to work with that person and say, look, let's just, do what you can or, reduce the rent or whatever without you getting hurt. So I like it. I think it's a good strategy and a good plan. And, I would be okay with that. But one last thing, Sue, make sure that this is going to happen in June of 2013. I assume you meant not this June. June of 2013. Just make sure that by November, December, you know what you're, where you're headed and what you're doing. Get the property up for sale. Try to get a buyer so that you're not in a situation where you're ever going to miss or struggle making a mortgage payment, because that's going to hurt you on the other end when you go to buy your home. Okay?
I need to put it up for sale here within the next 6 weeks.
Okay.
So,
okay. Is it June? Is it June of this year?
No, it's June of 2014.
Oh, okay. And you're going to do it. 14. That's
I'm
great.
I'm just planning. I'm ahead. I plan ahead, and I've been researching all the rental properties, and my neighbor, he's been mentoring me on them, and he's been like a dad to me since my father passed away, and he's real knowledgeable. He's been in this for 40 years, and so he's all about me, if I can find some helping me, giving me advice, that kind of stuff. And
great.
So I've been researching, and I think the rentals is where I was wanting to go, where I thought I'd be best, and with my skills and everything, and I feel like God's leading me in that direction. Yeah. But I wanted to get your opinion on it because I know, and I was wondering about investing some of it somewhere so I have that solid, as solid as it could be also, so that doing that with the $50,000, is thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right, thanks, Sue.
Anyway, thank you so much. You have a great day, and God bless you and your ministry, and I appreciate it so much.
Thank you, and God bless you, and appreciate your call. 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840 if you want to weigh in. We're going to go to break. When we get back, Mitt from Louisiana is on the line. We'll go to Mitt next. You're on deck, Mitt, 888-589-8840. Oh, Chris, Adam, don't let me forget to talk about the comments that Chris made before the news break. Sorry about that, Chris. I hope you're still listening. 888-589-8840. You're listening to AFR Talk, Financial Issues. My name's Dan Celia. We'll be right back.